you need to find out what is the average. Okay, what is the average income? Month end. How much do these guys earn? For discussion purposes, let's say 500 cedis. So if they are getting 500 cedis and here your dress is 150 cedis, and you're saying those are your target markets and they are not buying, what do you think is happening? Can you guess? Quite simple. You've identified a market that you claim is yours, but they have not chosen you. Your market has to choose you. So 500 cedis is what they are earning month end. Your dress is 150. Now, they buy 150. Don't forget, the guys have to pay electricity, they have to pay water bill, they have other bills that they need to take care of. We don't factor all of that in. We just think we're cheaper than the next person, and so they should understand. It does not work like that. So anytime you're choosing a market, please, and around here we don't want to do it, do your due diligence, find out, does that market align with what you're doing? Does it align with your pricing and all of that? And even communication channels. We sit on Instagram, and then we have a product. And then the product is not getting the traction that we want, and we're upset because we pay some influencer some good money to make us visible, but somehow people are not connecting with us. Why? Maybe your guys don't use Instagram. Maybe they use WhatsApp. My mother is here. She's on Instagram now, but Charlie, it's a hassle. Mama on Tiasie, it's me abre. Why? Because she's not used to it. It's too technical for her. And you look at her age bracket, and, it's only natural for her to say that I can't use it. But guess where she sits the most? Can you guess? Which platform do you think? Mom, can you stand and wave so they can see how old you are? Which type of social media do you think she'll use? Where? WhatsApp. WhatsApp status story. The way their markets, they can forward. Look. Especially Tom Bruni where we are. See, where popular. They will forward. Hey, yeah, baby, wahoo. No, so the way they keep forwarding it to each other. So they really use this platform. So anytime you have that business, you need to ask yourself, the platform that I've chosen, is that the right platform? Is that the same channel that my target is using? Because if it's not, then there's a misalignment. It will not work. This is not rocket science. It's pure truth. Okay. So I think we're going to do the questions after. So I have never been a social media person. When I left Standard Chartered, Cocoa Tea, you wear your suit and you feel like Charlie. So my sister, I started hair center. And my sister here said, oh, Gwen, why don't you, get this hair center on social media? I looked at the girl like, are you crazy? How? Put it on social media. For what? That's for play things. People that don't mean business are the ones that place their businesses on social media. That was my translation. Because for me, social media was where, Charlie, girls would go and sit and show their earrings and be like this and be like, which serious person, especially if you just quit your job, will go and place it there? This was around 2011. But Charlie, things became hard. Things were not flowing. So what do I have to do? I said, well, let me try the social media thing. What do you think will be the first picture I'll load there? Number one, will I load a picture of myself or of a model or of the product? Of the product? Who else? Which picture do you think I will first load on social media, assuming I'm just new to it? Use my business. Who? Myself. And product? Anyone product? Naturally, myself. Selfish thing to do. Easiest thing also. Yourself. So I posted the first picture, then I started getting likes. I said, hey, I'm more like you, I didn't know. Then I started getting excited. Then I said, okay, then let me try this again. Then I load another one, they were liking it. But then it got to a point, I got bored. Because I realized that, Charlie, the likes are not translating to sales. And those of you on social media, you know that thing. They'll come and like your thing, but they won't buy. The worst part is when they ask, how much? How much? How much? And then they leave you. So I realized that this thing wasn't working. But I made 3 mistakes. Number 1, I made social media about me. I was a startup. Obviously, I don't have dough. But, Charlie, I didn't want to invest. You always have some nice, pretty cousin you can use. But you look at yourself in the mirror and you are feeling yourself and make ramming bad. And then you load your own picture. Laziness. So I made it about me. The second thing that I did was I made the product about what I liked. I wanted this type of hair. So I was like, Ghana folk Rambo, they don't even wear good hair. Me, I'm bringing this hair, and then it will change the story. That's how I was behaving. You see, I was behaving like once I bring that product, then that's it. People are going to see there's a differentiation. But sometimes what people are looking for is not differentiation. People are looking for solutions. People are not looking for differentiation. People are looking for solutions. So a lot of times we're building our business models around differentiation. Differentiation is a great thing. Later on, I'll talk about blue ocean strategy, where, it talks about how you can be different on the market and make competition irrelevant. But, sometimes, in fact, more often, I realize that the customer does not care about differentiation. The customer cares about whether your products can help them to survive and thrive. How can your products make them become? So I did the second. So the last one was, I thought I was solving a problem. I wasn't solving any problem. And that comes to the same difference. I thought I was bringing something that nobody had. So you see, as entrepreneurs, let me tell you what's happening. We're flying drones. It's all the way up there. Or helicopters, we're all the way up there. And whilst up there, you know what happens? We start seeing potholes on the ground. We see potholes on the ground. Up there, and we're like, especially those from Abrochi. I don't know if you've ever heard people who live outside, when they come, Ghana 4, you guys are not doing this. You guys are not doing this. Like they have like a whole list of things that we're not doing. So as entrepreneurs, we're up there, and then we see potholes. Now, when we see the potholes, we come to the ground and then say we're going to do this and change the story, make people see a certain kind of perception. But imagine you find holes on the system and then you see these people eating wache by the gutter. And you come and you're like, Charlie, this wache by the gutter is not a good idea. You guys have to move. They look at you like, move where? Mami Brewer, 50 years ago, sat by the same gutter. Then, after me, 30 years before this person, my grandmother, now me, all these guys sat at the same place. So what are you telling me? Why do you think they don't respond to your new idea of moving them from the gutter? Because once again, you have not communicated whether where they are going is going to help them survive or thrive. How many of you are familiar with Abraham Maslow's theory on needs? Self-actualization, shelter, love, sense of belongingness, all of those elements. Unless we're able to connect with those things, they just look at us and laugh. The concept about. Then they'll say, the government will say, now you guys, you don't have to sit here, we're doing this. But what is the opportunity cost here? If there's no opportunity cost, there'll be a push back. They just look at you like it's an idea, but they'll still stay on the streets. They'll still stay by the gutter. So we need to start communicating something that is selfishly driven. It's unfortunate, but that's the truth. They need to find, the customer is more interested in feeling like they are winning the day. So when I look around, I realize that most of us have not clarified our message on social media. And that is why we're not able to connect with our audience and take our money. And whilst you're sitting there, not connecting with your audience, guess what? Somebody is, and somebody is taking your money. There is money in the country. That money has to be made. Every single person that is sitting here came here because they need answers. So clearly, there's a need. There's a very interesting book that I read. It's by Donald Miller. Basically, he uses story. Have you guys ever wondered how people can literally, watch like a Nollywood, Gollywood. I had to start with Nollywood and Gollywood before Charlie, they slay me. And Hollywood movies. Like, you realize that they can sit there and like 2 hours, they are watching a movie. Have you ever wondered how they do that? How many of you like movies? How many of you? Many of us watch movies. How do you think, these guys get us engaged for so long? How do you think they do it? Suspense is one. They create a need. They bring our problems up. So today, I'm going to have us discuss ways in which we can clarify our message and connect with our audience on social media. It's a 7-step framework, so I need you to be very alert. The first one, let's imagine your businesses were featured, it was like a movie feature. Let's imagine your business was a movie. Now, would you say, and there's always a main character in a movie. What would you say you are? Is the CEO the main character in your brand story? The CEO. Is it the main character? Or is it the product? Or is it a customer? When we come to your businesses, what is happening there? What kind of, energy do we get? Do we get that you're customer-centric, or you're more focused on the CEO's leadership, his direction, or you're more focused on projecting the product? I'll ask this gentleman. I said I could come anywhere. Who is okay, thank you. When we come to your business, please, who do you think will be the controlling character? You, the CEO, the customer, or the product?
The controlling character, I would say the customer.
The customer, okay. Who would you say, customer, product, or CEO?
Has to be the customer.
Customer, okay. How about you?
I would say it's the CEO.
CEO, proper. How about you, sir?
Product.
Products. This is getting very interesting. How about you?
The CEO.
CEO, okay. How about you? Products. This is very, very interesting. Hello, young lady, were you listening? So when we come, who would it be? The customer, the product, or the CEO? The product. Okay. By show of hands, if you think the controlling feature would be the CEO, please, let's see your hand. CEO, who do you think will be the controlling feature in your business? Who controls the show in your business? Is it a CEO? If you think it's a CEO, please show your hand. No? I thought you said CEO. Hey! It's called group conformity. Group conformity basically means, what a group is doing, you do some. Because, Charlie, you don't want problems. Product. Hey! Customer. Most people. So customer won. But even that, I don't believe you. You know why? Mobile as a customer, but when we come in and we do sessions with you, we realize that you are the CEOs. You are the beginning and the end of the show. Without you, nothing happens. Okay, so even those of you answering that, oh yeah, we are customer-centric, we think about the customer, we come there and it's not true. But the customer is correct. The customer is the hero of your brand story. Now, what we need to understand is that customers come to us because they are looking for definition, they are looking for direction. Okay? Now, they come to us because there's a problem. They come to our social media pages because they are looking for something. They are looking for answers. Now, most of you would, focus on decorating your social media page, get the colors coordinated, and Charlie, when we come there, it's solid. But no business. Nobody knows that. They just say, oh, Charlie, your page is solid. You are doing well. Oh, we thank God. But you they suffer. Oh, aesthetics sparks interest. Please understand this. Aesthetics those pictures, that coordination, it sparks interest, but it doesn't close the sale. Why? Because the customer is looking for a solution. So the customer, okay, as per Storybrand, comes to you because they have a problem. Now, this problem is threefolded. A lot of times, if we're in fashion or we're in, any kind of business, we're selling the external product. If it's a car wash, we're selling the fact that we wash cars. But customers do not buy our external solutions. What they are buying are internal solutions to what you provide externally. I don't know if you get me. Should I repeat that? You sell externally, but customers buy internally. That means they buy based on how you make them feel. So in your communication on social media, in your captions, there's a certain way you need to connect. There are certain semantics, language that you have to use. So instead of you saying, we sell clothes, you can say, we make you look confident. So anytime people see problems, they connect. You can imagine this. Sometimes someone calls you. The phone rings, you pick up. Hey, yeah? How be? And then they are like, oh yeah, where are you? It's like, I want to tell you something, but you later. And you're like, what thing? You tell me now. The first thing that goes through your mind is negative thoughts. Be honest with yourself. Why you are anxious is you think somebody says something or there's some bad news. So you're like, tell me now. And then they tell you and say, the last time I saw you, you were looking nice. So you're like, we are into the anticlimax of it. So customers are coming to us because there's a problem. So anytime you're writing out your captions, whether on your email, lead generators, on your websites, wherever, social media pages, always project the problem that the customer is facing. Instead of you projecting the product, project the problem. Because they connect to problems. Don't forget that there's a plethora of competitors and substitutes. It's not only you. Plenty brands are there. Everybody's competing for attention. So to them, you are just another. But the moment you project the problem you solve, they start looking at you another way. So the problems you're solving are internal problems, external problems, and philosophy. Philosophy is you must look good. So, everybody wants to look good. With that, you can make money. But truly, especially women, they buy based on how you make them feel. So it's very important to remember that. Now, the customer is not looking for another hero. Some of us, when they get on our pages, we are borrow. Especially when you're a startup. You want to prove that you know what you're doing. So customers even try to ask you questions, and then you get upset. How much is this? But the price is there. You know why they don't see the price? Because anytime what you think you're telling the customer and what the customer hears are two different things because of how you build your caption. But if you build your caption by projecting the problem you solve and then saying that these are the options available, this is the price, it follows a certain thought process, and immediately they are the ones begging to read the price, and they read it. But we flash them too many unnecessary things, so they get confused. And in marketing, you lose when you confuse. So that's what I wrote in the article. Noise is the enemy. So what we think is marketing is making noise. Too many hashtags. Hashtag, long. And then you go down with this hashtag. Because some guy said, the hashtag, and they have this way of speaking, it exposes you because, when people hashtag, Charlie, this is Ghana. You are either looking for the people down here and how they think and how you can connect and take their money, or you're looking at something that doesn't work in your market. So even with philosophy, we need to understand what aligns with our markets. So I always say that it's good to import best global practice. Best global practice is important, but it needs to align with local knowledge. What works on the ground? What works on the ground? How do people here, how is their mindset like? How do they think? if many people have not been able to change that, your product is not going to make them change that. So you need to leverage on how their mind works and then produce according to it. Else, you're just going to be fighting. And other people will be taking. Because they clarify their message. Simple. It's not juju. Simple. Now, the third thing, okay, is it the third? So we've talked about, number one, the character. So the character is the hero. The second point is the character has a problem. So they are coming to you based on a problem that they have. Now, the problem could be threefold. It could be philosophy. It could be internal and external. What I care most about is their internal problem. The brands that are able to resolve frustration win. And they are looking for a guide. Now, as a guide is you. So any person here that is a business owner is a guide. A guide must have certain qualities. Empathy and authority. Authority does not mean you're going to exert your competence in the customer's face and make them feel like, yeah, I know what I'm doing and I'm not going to listen to you. You need to listen to them. You are a guide. You are not a hero. But most of us, business owners, have interchanged the roles. We've made ourselves heroes. We are calling the shots. You go on their page and then if you are one of them, sorry, but it's really wrong, where we've written no DM, no WhatsApp, calls only. So you've set rules on how they should communicate with you. Meanwhile, the guys just want to WhatsApp because it's convenient. So we've shifted the convenience to ourselves. But convenience is for the customer, it's not for you. So you need to listen to the customer. And if we listen to the customer, we'll hear what they want and we will sell anything to them. They want to be listened to. Let's stop behaving like the heroes. The heroes are not us business owners. The heroes are the customers. So authority basically means you exerting that wisdom. The second thing I said was empathy, understanding. Customers want to be seen, heard, and understood, like Oprah said. Those are fundamental things. If humans feel like that, and it's the same in marketing. If humans feel they've been seen, okay, you are visible to them, they are visible to you, and what they say to you, you hear, and they feel like you understand, they trust you. E-commerce works on one basic commodity, trust. That's the currency for e-commerce. MTN Mobile Money is working based on that fact. We trust. We trust. Most successful Alibaba, all these guys, they are working based on the fact that people trust them. So you're going to say to yourself that, but me, I'm new. I just started a business. How would they trust me? By being honest, by being empathetic, by going the extra mile. Study. Most of us don't want to study. We want quick fix. We see your baby doing this, then quick. We want to do the same thing. We don't take time to understand the market. Because if we sit and actually start studying customers' problems and start to implement design thinking, we're going to develop products that will blow our minds. I don't know how many of you listened to Pastor Dr. Mensah today on imagination. How many of you know? Okay. But basically, it's a key element. God wants us to stir up our imagination. And most of the machines, most of the things that are around us were stirred up by imagination, stirred up by people like you and I. All they did was, how is it that these people are suffering? How can I solve their problem? And then they developed those solutions. Now, as a guide, you need to give customers a plan of doing business with you. How many of you are in gadgets? Who sells gadgets here? Electronics. Anybody? Electronics or anything that needs to be arranged? Nobody. Okay. All right. So quite recently, right, I bought this, what's it called? It's sort of like a diffuser. Very nice aesthetically that you can hang, and then also, it diffuses the scents and all of that. It was very nice. It didn't come with a manual. So I went home trying to use it. I didn't understand how it worked. So I looked at the product, Googled, and then it came with a long list of how to do it. I'm not tech savvy. Those things stress me. So I looked at it and I just dumped the thing. I just dropped the thing somewhere. Then later I got something from Talata. You know Talata. So Talata diffusers gave me something. It came with a very simple manual. Simple. 3 or 4 steps, you're done. So as guys, as business owners, people get on our pages and we don't even give them a plan of how to do business with us. If you're in insurance, broker, you say all these things that you are, but you don't tell us how we can engage your services. How are we going to engage if you don't tell us? You don't tell us anything. So we come to your page, we just look at it. We come to your website, we look at it, and we walk away. So most of us are building galleries. Most of us are building galleries, and the galleries are getting viewed. Oh, nice, 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 nice. But how long are you going to waste your time and their time just building aesthetics? We need to go and take our money. It's there. The market is there. What do I do? Hair. If I can do it with hair, how much more your sophisticated businesses? Massive, massive money sitting there. But why are you not getting this? Because we haven't clarified our message. Simple. The clients don't understand us. We speak and they don't hear us. We don't give them a plan. A plan is supposed to help them to get out, take out this confusion of doing business with us, or even the fear of doing business with us. Process plans, like I talked about, we also have agreement plans. In the West, I don't know if you realize this, when you shop, right, they have this return policy and exchange policy. Go and shop in Accra and see right now. Hey, you are bringing what back? Even right here in East Legon, the way they would drill you, you are bringing what back? You took it home. Even your auntie will tell you, hey, and yet, or dia konifie, unimni or dia koye, and or deba, menje. And so we're losing businesses because of that. Some businesses actually do it, but they don't say it aloud because they know how we are. Once you say you can exchange, hey, they will exchange like nobody's business. Okofie, they wear it and then they'll bring it back and say, I don't like it again. So they don't do it they don't say it aloud, but they do it. I do it in mine, but I don't say it aloud. So somebody that is offering clients agreement plans, guarantees, this air condition, this popular air condition place, what's it called? Hisense. Every time I hear one of my staff members say, hey, I'm guaranteed, hey, 5 years, Anna. 5 years, look at that. 5 years, you get excited. Your guarantee what? What? And that's the kind of business we're running. So, if process plans takes away confusion, okay, if we tell people how to, do business with us, it takes away confusion, then do you know what agreement plans do? They take away fear. The fear that me coffee and I'm in pa, met me the abana. And this is online business. Amazon does it. Returns. Why don't we want to do it? We want to import best global practice. But there are some things that we need to implement down here, but we say, and no dear, and no dear, you won't do, but you don't understand why you're not successful. We need to change the way we communicate. We need to change the way we make our clients feel. We need to give them guarantees. We need to give them comfort. You shopped because of the guarantee, right? So can you imagine if you implemented the same thing in your business? Deploy that same business model of offering them guarantees, giving them process plans. Okay, so when you call us, all you do is log in your name, and then somebody will contact you, and somebody actually contacts you. We give people process plans, but they send us messages and we don't respond to the messages. The next one, call to action. I have a model that I deploy in my business. It's called the last call. I don't know if any of you have heard about it before, by show of hands. Last call. It's the internet don't call me. Look, I have a bell for it. When you go to Makola, I grew up in Latvia Okoshi. Let's talk about Latvia Okoshi first. In the morning, I don't know if you know, MOA, fresh, MOA. these are fish people. I'm in the bedroom, I hear them. Then the next person, your friend was saying, shoemaker. Then I remember that, Charlie, I have to mend my soles. Then, around 4 o'clock, yeah. And then I remember, like, yeah, Charlie, I have this dress that I want to, adjust here and there. All these guys, okay, are calling us to action. But why can't we do it? Because we feel too sophisticated, we feel too educated. It's like, don't call me there. It's for certain people. Charlie, me, I can't go to all the school and do don't call me. Come and see how don't call me is working. Come and see. 100 Ghana. I can take some piece of hair, small, 50 cedis. They buy. But you are there. You have more powerful products. But it's like, I want to flex. I will look too desperate. You want to make money, look desperate. If you're not hungry, but some of us were online and it's like we are strolling. Every day we are strolling like this and we are thinking that as we stroll or as we place some pictures in, somebody will just say, hey, how much? No. If you are doing that and the other person next to you who is doing the same business is doing don't call me, don't call me, don't call me, they are taking your money. So every day you fail to take action, somebody who is persistent, consistent in taking action is taking your money. Running along with it. So we need to understand the relevance of taking action. How do you tell people to take action? Call now. Your buy button on your websites, blinking red. Sometimes we come to your website, we don't even know where buy is. You write about how the business started and your grandfather did this and that and that. We don't care. All we care about is how you can solve our problems. The product you're selling, can it solve our problems? That's all we care about. So this storytelling, because anytime you talk about the story model, people think, oh, it's about telling story about how you started. Believe me, even us sitting here, we don't really care about how Hair Center started. We care about how, Charlie, we will sort our issues. It's the truth. So you need to understand this well. The last but one. You don't have to make customers afraid, but you need to let them understand what it's going to be like if you fail to do business, if they fail to do business with you. It's not fear-mongering. It's basically letting them understand that, listen, if you decide not to do business with me, these are the consequences. You can get duped. Somebody will take your money. They need to understand these things. So you need to draw the scenario of what can happen if they decide not to do business with you. It's very important. The last is showing them what success looks like. What does success look like? Pictures of happy people. Sometimes people throw pictures of people that are happy using their products. You think it's nothing. It actually communicates with people. The tea business is a very good business. Why? Because they have before and after pictures to show you. So you see one person 30 days ago who was like this, 30 days after, their stomach is flat. Come and see speed. You too, you buy some. Transformation. We are attracted to transformation. So anytime we're communicating on digital media, we need to sell them that story of transformation. We live in an age where this is possible. It's a beautiful age. Visuals. Show visuals and use those visuals to transform their thinking. Don't just flash visuals or look at some picture and say, oh, this picture is nice, so they'll like it. How does that picture solve a problem? Everything you do, marketing must be intentional. We're not just dropping pictures. Everything has to be intentional. And when you do that, believe me, this sounds like a very simple model. I wasn't doing this before in my business. Even price, I didn't want to put it there because I was afraid when you put the price there, they are going to judge you. And a lot of us don't put our prices there because we're scared of what people will say. You don't have to care about what people will say. Social media is a beautiful place. Block, delete, block, delete, block, delete, block, delete. You do it a couple of times, they stop worrying you. Because if customers don't know where you're taking them, they are not going to follow. It's simple. They need to know where you're taking them. So you spark their interest and say you're solving a problem. And then they are interested, and you tell them this is where you are. And they are wondering, especially around here, how much? You tell us all the things, so Intia, you're saying. We make the decision based on that. But you can have a positive response from us if you're able to sell us the fact that we will survive when we use your products. We will do well when we use your products. It's very simple. So what we need to do, ladies and gentlemen, is to begin clarifying our messages. Let's not go to sleep. When COVID-19 hit, we at the hair center could have gone to sleep. But then we remembered who we were. We used digital marketing to build the entire model. So I quickly went to my room, cleared the place, started putting bags there. And then I used my phone. And then some ring light. And I used my daughter. I said, record me. And then we started recording. And so we'll show the hair and say, don't come in. Because you can imagine, 2018, we almost went bankrupt. 2019, things are picking up, and 2020, boom. So we still had a lot of stock that had to be cleared. So even in the midst of the storm, you are able to develop solutions if you allow yourself. You need to think outside of the box. You need to think without the box. Don't put it in mind at all. And so 2020, we grew by 92.6%, better than years where there was no pandemic. It's possible with you. The few questions I asked around, what I get, the energy I get here is people have serious businesses. People want their businesses to be visible. They want to get engagement. They want to sell. They want to scale. And then those of you who don't have businesses, you want to start up something, but you don't know where to start. You look at people with so many following and you think, wow, how am I going to do it? Listen, sometimes your photos that don't even get the likes are the ones that people patronize. Because you need to understand the market that we're in. We're timid. Even when we like something, we don't want people to see that we like it. So we won't comment. Let's be patient. Let's not rush this thing. It's a process. Trust the process, and you're going to get results. Go through the ropes. Understand the customer. Understand that they are the controlling feature, and you're going to get results. Most of you came here tonight because you wanted to ask questions. And so I'm not going to go in too deep. I'm going to try to stop here. So we're going to watch a short video about hair center, and after we can have more time to answer some questions and look at ways in which we can connect with our market. Thank you very much.
The hair center was started from the trunk of our cars. This was in 2008. We used to have home sales where people would come to us and shop, where we laid our wares on table mats. It was a small beginning. Even at the time, it didn't have a name. So in 2012, with sufficient funds, we acquired our first store and became popular in 2015 when we had changed the brand story and invited others in. Our annual sales events became a part of our business model, and with visibility and a strong brand, we began to ship to multiple countries across the world, with distributors in Liberia, Togo, Benin, America, and the UK. We had branches in Kumasi and Accra, and distributors across the region. Our new store opening included the hair center wig makers to control the end-to-end chain. Briefly after this, we sealed our first franchise deal in Kufurijia. Bigger sales events annually dubbed Big December grew larger in numbers and attendance. And in 2018, we almost collapsed. We almost went bankrupt. Then we re-strategized to start the last call sale and acquired some equity injection, get into the latter part of the year. Even though it was a slow recuperation, We eventually sailed through in 2019, then leveraged on social media to birth Hips Africa, which brought all stakeholders together as our strategy was to strengthen the industry. Then COVID-19 happened. We didn't go to sleep. We became teachers at home. And I had to teach over 150 entrepreneurs on one-on-one sessions. We supported the industry with boxes of food and money during the lockdown because our heart is in the industry. Then we set up a home store so we could sell online. We started a last call sales virtually that pushed our numbers up. Then virtual sales in store with sales executives. The hair center became the first company in the world to establish a call center for hair. Then in December, we supported the industry again with working materials and financing because we want to project the industry that we belong. The next chapter of the hair center will be the Leading Center, which promises to groom the mindset of individuals. And one of Africa's biggest human hair manufacturing company is also in the pipeline. For us large consumers of the product, we must control the chain. We must change the narrative. We must support Africans. And we know the hair center, groomed in Africa, shall serve the world. With God on our side, we know we are achievers, and we believe if we can build this with hair, you can build so much more. Thank you.
Let's do it better. Let's give a better hand clap. Wow. This is a master class. Wow. So now I want to take questions, but I want the questions to be very related to what she has shared, not outside it. So I want, if you want to ask the questions, please want you to stand up and line up here. We don't want somebody to ask a question, then somebody else get up and start coming so that like queue belongs. So I'm going to take about a couple of questions. We have some time for that, 15 minutes. So let's, if you have a question to ask, listen. My first question also is that I wanted to find out what is your take on using influencers to promote a brand that you are trying to bring into the market, and what are the pros and cons of that, especially when the influencer gets himself into trouble or something, how the brand can be affected. Yeah.
I hope I remember the last part. Thank you very much. So influencer marketing is very important. What we need to understand influencer marketing does is it sparks the interest. Influencers have following. But before you choose an influencer, you need to ask yourself, why are you choosing that influencer? You need to understand, the people that follow that influencer and why they follow them. Because a lot of times we just look at the following and then we think that just because this influencer has a lot of following, I'm going to use them for my business. But maybe people are following them for specific reasons. So you need to understand that. And then you spoke about if the influencer gets into trouble. How do I even answer that? Well, this is business, okay? I mean, the influencer is not a representation of your brand. What they are doing is basically marketing your products for you. And I mean, if we're going into the personal lives of everybody that markets our products for us, I'm sure we'll be in for some serious surprises. If they are ambassadors of your brand, then, it has direct effects. But if they are influencers that are outsourced, it shouldn't be a problem and it shouldn't affect your bottom line at all. Yeah.
Want the questions? Please, let's stand here. Please, if you have a question, let's just line up here quickly. Let's line up here quickly so that it's done quick.
So my question is, how do you advise a startup to build their followership? Do they build it organically, or they go out there looking for sponsors, sponsoring their pages in order to get followership?
Thank you very much. That's a fantastic question. Whether it's essential for you to grow organically. Yes. Hair Center grew organically. We don't have any fake following, because how do you measure this? You need to ask yourself, if you're using the social media tool to actually grow your business, then what's the point of trying to get fake followers? How do you measure growth? How do you measure it? So it's not worth it. And then you said something else. You said something. Yes, sponsorship. It's visibility. So most of us, I mean, especially when Instagram, when we started, there was no this sponsored, ad and promos. It wasn't there. But I realized that people, especially startups, are overusing it. You see, you just started your business. Take time, understand the market, clean up your room. Because what's the point of pushing people to come to your house when your house isn't cleaned up? And that's what I said before, that people blame influencers for this. The influencer is going to spark their interest. The influencer is going to drive traffic to your page, but you need to be ready. Have you clarified your message? Do you have a process plan? Have you projected the problem that you're solving? Have you connected with our emotional needs? You haven't done all of that. And so we come to you, we look at it, and we're like, this guy is not serious. And then we go to somebody else. And when we do that, we actually lose business. Because you know what? You've made people ready. They are ready to buy. They are ready to buy that shirt you're wearing. And then they go to that influencer's page, find it, and then they go to your page. They come to your page, and there's no level of seriousness. So because they are ready to buy a shirt, they start looking at other shirt companies. So instead of you providing cross-selling opportunities for yourself, you end up creating cross-selling opportunities for the other person. Okay, so we end up making money for other people when we're not ready, but we're pushing to be visible. Let's take our time, get ready. Let's clarify our messages like I talked about before the people come in to visit. So when they visit, they will go back with a good review. When they visit, they will buy.
Thank you very much. My name is Joseph, and my question is that you did mention that in 2018, the business almost collapsed. And then 2 years after the business, you were able to grow the business to about 92 or 93%. And my question is, could you please throw more light in terms of what tools, skills, everything that you use? Because I believe most of us here, we are starting our businesses, and it would really help us to know some of the things you used to come out successful. Thank you.
So thank you very much. In every business, it gets to some points where you become full of yourself. We got to that point in Hair Center where we thought, yeah, we've arrived. So we started just ordering. And then we have a factory partner. So it was easier, like, oh, bring this in. And then we ended up having so much stock that we're not able to sell. If you know the 80-20 rule, you know that 20% of your stock is actually what gives you the profit. The 80% doesn't. So we had a lot of 80% sitting there, and people were focused on the 20%. We had certain textures that were being bought, the others no one was buying. And so we had this large consignment that nobody wanted to pay full price. And how did we come out of it? By doing Donkomi. We deployed a strategy that the market women were doing. The market women do it. Makola has some of the wealthiest, business traders here in Africa. But we don't mind them. We, with all our education, we don't want to go to the market. But there's a lot of money there, and they are making the money. So I realized that, let me simply reduce my margins. Because here I was placing, premium margins on my products, and my market didn't have the money. So what's the point of selling high price to a market that cannot afford? You become a joke. So the Donkomi strategy actually helped me, which is called last call, to move the stock. So even though my margins, I didn't get sufficient, I didn't get enough as I'd imagined, it was better than holding on to stock. So my advice to you startups is try to play volumes. I think because our market is made up of more masses, this mass market is larger, let's play the volumes game. Okay, and look at ways in which we can move our stock fast. Low margins, increase sales, and just move the stock. Else we're just going to sit there and look like decorated businesses. We have the stock, we don't have the money, and no one is interested in it. I hope it answers the question. Who asked that? Yeah.
Okay. You said something about not setting rules such as no calls, no DMs and stuff. For that, yeah, and I agree with you. But you know that sometimes you want to accept payments before you send out the stuff. You have a shop, everything on the page proves that this is a legit business. You tag your customers, the engagement is there. But then you find customers telling you, no, I don't want to be scammed, and so I want to pay on delivery. In situations like this, how do we handle it, please?
So you know, when we started, we were not doing delivery and all those things. But what you need to understand is, I need to get on your Instagram page. What's your name, madam? Joyce. If I get on your Instagram page right now, I'm sure I'll be able to pick up why. Because they have trust issues with you. That's the only reason. And so you need to project those problems in your captions. Okay, sometimes you can just create a flyer to say, one of the things we promise you is you will not be scammed. What you see is what you get. And if you pay, we deliver. Okay? And you need to stand firm on it. When I started my business, I remember my husband saying to me that, listen, Gwen, if you extend credit, what is going to happen with your type of business is you're going to use the entire time to chase people for your money. And that was the best advice ever. So hair center has always been cash and carry, but I can't say that for, you know, all businesses. Different businesses need different needs. And so with yours, I think you need to work on your trust. You need to build authority. You need to build empathy. Okay, so you can send me a DM on Gwen Ado. I'll have a look at your page quickly, and then I'll show you where we can fix and then get the people talking differently.
Thank you. So first of all, I came just to see you. I'm happy. My question to you...
I actually didn't hear what she said.
I came to see you.
Oh,
yeah. So my question to you is, how do you leverage data? You know, because there's so much information.
Yeah, the software lady.
Yes.
I figured. Leverage data. I figured
Yes.
software.
So how do you leverage data? Because there's so much information that goes through your page. You know, people ask questions. And then, like you said, in 2018, you were almost going into a flank because you suddenly had all this stock and they were not moving. So how do you make sure that you can leverage data and maximize on? Because I know on social media, there are certain tools that we use. So how do we engage? Yeah, so how do we engage with what our customers are saying and be able to understand that this is my type of audience? And then the other question I had is, how do you keep like sticky customers? You know, like how do you ensure you can collect information of customers who are reaching out in your page and continue giving them like, this is what is coming out, this and this is what is happening.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if Nadia will tell you this very minute, I've forgotten your first question. The only thing I can remember is the last. So, and the last one was... Oh, sorry. And the last one was... What was the last one? Hey, Gwen and attention span. How do you manage to get information from your customers? Okay, so one of the things we deploy at the hair center is this. The moment you come to hair center, the first thing we ask you, how did you find us? I'm looking for her. Yeah. How did you find us? You know, that's the first question we ask you. Now, thanks to the software that Instagram has developed, we're able to use analytics. But even with the analytics, I tend not to trust it all the time. Because I look at, for instance, when we're having a sale, then we post, you know, we promote it, get a few people commenting. You look at analytics, it doesn't even show that it had a lot of, you know, visibility and all of that, or people viewing it. But then you wake up in the morning at 4 a.m. and people have already queued outside. And you're wondering, like, what's going on? So we studied the analytics on Instagram, but what we do is we ask the clients questions, we find out where they are from, how did they find us, is it a recommendation, is it social media, is it billboard? Because like I said to you, there's also offline digital marketing. So sometimes they could find us on our, you know, billboards, or they could hear about us on, we barely use radio, or if I do an interview, then they talk to us. Yeah. Any other question?
All right, so I guess all the questions have been answered.
Okay,
And,
so,
yeah.
all right, so before I close, I talked about all these business models and ways in which we can clarify our message. But I will be very ungrateful if I don't share this model that has worked for me, the model of Christ. If you follow me, and if you ever follow Hair Center in my personal page, you would realize that God is at the center of all of this. Look at us. We don't even produce the hair locally. We're setting up a factory, hopefully by next year, but the raw material is still not from here. It's sourced outside. When we have a sale, we have people come in as early as sometimes the night before, okay? And then the locals come as early as 1 a.m. and they queue for a store that will open at 8:30 and sell. It's not free hair. They come and buy. They come in their thousands, and you know the numbers. I look at all of this and I know it's not possible. That is by our strength, the team, or by any strategies that we deploy. It's simply by the grace of God, by trusting in his principles, by believing that it is possible and he can use anything he wants. So we need to trust God. We need to be models for Christ, and we can deploy that in our businesses. Honesty, integrity, love, give. We talk about giving in the church, but giving in business is also very important. Some of you start businesses and you don't want to give anything. You don't want to do giveaways. You don't want to do samples. You don't want to create, maybe PDF, free, business advice, something. You need to give up something to get something. It's in the Bible. It's in business also. So we need to understand this. My favorite verse is Deuteronomy 31:8. It says that the Lord... the pastors are here. The Lord goes before us, and he's with us. He will never leave nor forsake us, and so we should not be discouraged, and we should not be afraid. Oh, look at that. So basically what does it mean for God to go before us? He fights our battles for us. He clears the headway for us, because business can get crazy. He does that for us. And then as you climb up in business, it gets lonely. And what does God do? He keeps you company. There are times that it's a struggle, but you need to trust God and you need to know that he's with you. Don't be afraid. People can tell you you will fail. People told me you can't start a business and say you will only sell hair. How? It does not work. But we sit in Africa and serve the world. If I tell you some of the numbers, you will not believe it. But it's not juju. It's by the grace of God. So let's have that trust in God. And let's not be discouraged, even when the journey gets tough. My dad, Charles Alenjima, Ghana Video City, he's late now. His advice was, youth is a blessed time. But the blessedness of youth is only and fully realized when it has passed. Most of us are in our youthful years. The time is now. You don't go to sleep now. You work, and you need to go 10 times harder than everybody. Christians, we do not compete. We dominate. We do not compete. We dominate. So I want you to remember that. The next time I come here, we're going to talk about business modeling and a whole host of other things. But the last one I'll share with you is a blue ocean strategy. For those of you who sent me messages and said that, what do you do with competition? How do you become relevant? How do you eliminate them? How do you innovate and come up with something? So I want you to work on this abbreviation, ERRC. ERRC. You can check Google, you'll find it. Eliminate, reduce, raise, and create. So you eliminate whatever the industry has long been competing on. You reduce, whether it's your stock or it's your advertising cost. You raise the standard higher than what the industry is using. Or you can raise something within your business model that otherwise was not well projected. And the last is, when all of this is done, you create, you innovate. That is how you differentiate. That is how you become relevant and make the competition irrelevant. Thank you very much. And as we say here in ICGC, in Christ Jesus, we are more than conquerors. Thank you very much.